Hello everybody, welcome to the bizarre world of redstone alternatives, where I will try to show you how to create redstone contraptions that don't actually use any redstone related blocks. And the first block that helps us do that are signs, because as you can see, if you place them one behind the other like so, we essentially have an infinite line of redstone dust. When you break the first one or activate the first one, we break all of the signs behind it as well, and if you have the willpower you can build this out forever. However, actual redstone dust has a hard limit at about 15 blocks. And you may be asking, what is so important about a sign? And to answer that, I need to tell you a little bit about gravity blocks first. You see, I'm talking sand, gravel, concrete powder, any block that falls really. Once you place those blocks on top of a sign or a row of signs, you essentially have yourself a makeshift piston, and this concept will be used for traps and contraptions down the line. Now having this knowledge, we can create a path of signs with gravity blocks attached on top, so when we break these signs, the blocks create a path in themselves, allowing previously inaccessible areas to be now accessible. In a similar light, you can also make walls fall instead of paths. This can be very useful when you don't have a ton of room above, but you have an excess of room below. Now I don't know how long this building has been here, but it has a mysterious sign that says break me, so why not, you know? As you can see, we fell for a little trap. However, once we reset this, we can see what's going on behind the scenes. So, it's a pretty basic trap if that. It detects when you break a sign, and once it does, it drops an anvil on your head. However, there are going to be much more complex ones down the line. Now we enter what I like to call the farming renaissance, and I call it that because a lot of Minecraft plant blocks have strange properties, cactus included. You may already know this one, but when you place a block next to a cactus, it destroys the whole cactus. Kinda strange, but we can use that to our advantage by automating gravity blocks to fall and break them for us. Additionally, it doesn't matter how tall the cactus is, so we can use this in a lot of different circumstances. Now, isn't that satisfying? One of the things we can use this for is for a repeater effect. Once we break that block, it's going to make that sand fall, make that cactus break, make that sign break, and go on and go on. Obviously, making the cactus taller will make the process go on longer as well, but as you can see, it already takes a few more seconds than it usually would. This can be made even more prominent when comparing them side by side. Obviously, the one on the bottom is going to take a lot longer. Cactus also helps us with one of the sign's biggest flaws. Signs can go downwards. You can build on top of each other, in front of each other, but unfortunately you can't place signs underneath other signs. This makes it difficult for contraptions that have signs starting up high, but doors winding up low. But using cactus, we can allow sand and other gravity blocks to sort of become a messenger to relay the message downwards. So you can break a sign, starting up pretty high, and still open a door ending up pretty low. Alright, just an editor note, signs can go downwards. I forgot it's 1.20. From using these quirks about cactus and gravity blocks, we can essentially create a key door. By dropping sand or other gravity blocks in this hole, it will open this door right here. Here you can see the wreckage of what just happened, but if we reset this real quick, I can explain it from a better angle. We're essentially dropping sand right there, right next to the cactus. Once that cactus breaks, it breaks all these signs, which makes the gravel fall. And we can replicate this by placing sand here as well. And now we dive into block updates, where it really gets interesting. As you can see, we have another farming block, this time being Sugarcane. Unfortunately, it doesn't break like cactus when we place a block next to it. However, if we remove the water source, we can update the block to break like cactus again. This essentially works because sugarcane isn't supposed to grow when there's no water next to it. However, it doesn't realize that until we start to nudge it and say, hey, there's no water next to you. Now you may be asking, what's so different between cactus and sugarcane then? If you can both break them with a single block, why use one over the other? Well, I have to say sugarcane is arguably more unique as it checks for block updates every single tick, which makes it so you can get results like this. Now, isn't that satisfying? Wait, did I already show that clip? And obviously, sugarcane block updates are just the tip of the iceberg. There are way many more advanced ones than this one. Let's race. With that being said though, I'm not going to explain this trap just yet, because I need to explain something more important first. Water updating. Water in Minecraft works kind of strange. Obviously in this setup it's going to go both directions, but if I were to break this block first, it's only going to flow in one direction. One may think that placing this block would make it flow again, but no, it still tries to go in that same direction even after it's filled. However, once we update this source block, is when it starts to go both directions again, which is applied into that trap over there. This same technique can be used with lava too. As you can see, lava is going to flow down the hole, we patch it up, and then we can update it with a trapdoor or some other type of activation. You may think that lava is very useful because of its capability to hurt players, however, Due to its slowness, it's rarely used in traps, or at least the traps that I use. However, I think it can be kind of useful as a random number generator type of thing, as when you have it next to a block that can be burned, who knows how long it'll take until that activates. And obviously you saw me use trapdoors to update blocks, but there are a plethora of other blocks you can use as well, like fence gates. Chests actually don't, surprisingly, but you can also use furnaces, at least when you start cooking in them, no blocks, as well as redstone as well. This redstone actually is what makes that feature possible over there. You see, redstone is kind of unique because it can be used as a button detector, but it can also be used as a pressure plate detector. And that is what I used it for over here. So whenever you walk over this redstone block, or this redstone ore, pardon me, it is going to update some water, make that water fall, break the torch, make this gravel fall, and all of those signs underneath it fall as well. We can see that here, in action, which causes the gravel to fall and become an almost inescapable pit. For that example, I chose to break a torch with water. However, you can also use carpet, cobweb, just to name a few. I'm sure there are more, but whatever you see best fit. And that leads us to our thumbnail. Can you use Farmland to essentially open an iron door? And surprisingly enough, I can finally say you can. Oh, I actually didn't jump on it. But now you can. And although this door isn't the prettiest by any means, I still prefer the Farmland pressure plate over the redstone ore pressure plate we did earlier. Specifically because it requires a full jump, which can be quite useful for target-like block examples like here. And before I go into this next one, I just wanted it to be known that powered rails didn't used to require a redstone signal. They used to always be activated upon placement. Now I know that block down there was a bit controversial, and this one has to be even more controversial regarding the no redstone policy. But I just feel like minecarts made a big movement into automation process regarding many of these tricks, as shown. But that's going to be the end for minecarts and the start of the new update. You see, all of these past examples have been known and used throughout my Pocket Edition career. However, new blocks like dripstones may be able to change the game. There are now vines that you can climb up and down of now. We talked about sand, but there's also suspicious sand that breaks when it falls. There's concrete powder that solidifies when it touches water, as well as a bunch of other blocks like scaffolding, stalk sensors, powdered snow. Many things that I could make a part 2 on if you're interested. As we walk towards our last exhibit and start a cobblestone generator with a stone hoe of all things, I just wanted to say that although many of these tricks have become either obsolete or ineffective, they still hold a dear place in my heart over the years. I mean, who doesn't love a good old Rube Goldberg machine?